for August 4th order, and if I can ask everyone to rise for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tony, can you do roll call, please?
Mendez,
Present.
Perales,
Here.
Dieppe,
Present.
Crosco, Davis, Esparza,
Here.
Arenas, Foley,
Here.
Camus, Jones,
Here.
Liccardo. Can we have a quorum?
All right. Thank you, Tony. Councilmember Esparza is going to provide the invocation.
Thank you. Last week was the 1-year anniversary of the Gilroy shooting. It was actually last Tuesday. And it was a message that went out. And so I wanted to read that today. So 1 year ago, thousands of our families were out in the sunshine, enjoying food, rides, music, and perhaps trying out garlic ice cream for the first time. For the past 40 years, the Gilroy Garlic Festival has been a beloved institution here in the South Bay, giving families affordable, accessible summertime fun while raising millions of dollars for local nonprofits. But in a matter of seconds, racial hatred changed everything. In a few moments of terror, families were torn apart forever. And the celebration of the best in our community became a horrific, haunting reminder that Silicon Valley is just as vulnerable to the kinds of hateful acts that we have seen elsewhere in the country over the past few years, whether in Charlottesville or Pittsburgh or El Paso. The driving force behind these acts of violence is white supremacy and racial hatred. This profound evil took Trevor Irby, 13-year-old Kayla Salazar, and my cousin, 6-year-old Stephen Romero, and wounded 17 others. And when we hear about these horrible tragedies, our hearts break. We see the outpouring of grief, of public support, condemnation of those who subscribe to these racist and violent ideologies. But it's easy to grieve the murder of children. We all understand that. It's easy to point a finger at a lone gunman and condemn them. What is so much more challenging is understanding that it's not just a lone person with a gun. It's a culture of hatred. It's a culture that we allow to spread through our inaction. It's a culture that we allow to spread through indifference. Hatred doesn't just feed on fear or anger, it feeds on our collective indifference. In many ways, especially for those of us in positions of privilege, the world a year ago feels like an entirely different one. When this tragedy hit us, we were in the midst of unprecedented economic growth. And now, a year later, we face a global pandemic, the worst economic crisis in nearly a century, and the most social unrest since the 60s. For many of us, the world has gone from a place that felt fundamentally secure to one that feels insecure. And what we must understand is that for so many people in our communities of color, that old world never felt secure. The fear, the anxiety, the unease that so many of us in positions of privilege feel now, that has been what so many people in our underserved communities right here at home in San Jose, like my cousin, have felt for generations. And now they're being pushed even further. Enduring the worst public health and economic effects of this crisis, dying and contracting the virus at the highest rates, And this is happening right here, right now in San Jose and throughout Silicon Valley. We cannot keep looking the other way. The man who took Stephen and Kayla and Trevor, the man who took them away from their families, wanted to hurt people of color. But the painful truth is that the greatest harm done to our communities of color is through the inaction of a community to affect change. There is no bringing back those we lost. But if we want to truly honor their memory, the only way to do that is through meaningful action. Mourning is not enough. No words will bring back those we lost, but we can and must take action to uplift those communities who were targeted by this act of racial hatred and who continue to bear so many undue burdens as a consequence of our inaction. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Esparza. We are going to have the commendation for our City Attorney, Rick Doyle, at 1:30 after our lunch break. So we're moving to orders of the day. Does anyone on the council have any changes to the printed agenda? If not, on to the closed session report in the City Attorney.
This is Ed Moran, the Assistant City Attorney. In closed session today, the council voted to enter into settlement agreements with the Bay Area News Group with regard to the lawsuit that was filed by that group. That's the report.
All right.
If I may, I believe.
I was going to say, does the city manager have any input?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to give.
I'm City Manager. I thought it was going to become. I thought your report was you were going to report out of your report in your report.
No, I think we agreed to do it here, Ed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So so in addition, then there was a vote to allow the city manager to report out on a matter regarding the Bay Area News Group lawsuit to give an update on his progress. And the vote was, it was unanimous, except that Councilmember Carrasco was not in attendance.
Thank you, Ed. Appreciate the opportunity to give an update on where we're at in terms of complying with the PRA request. I want to specifically thank PD, Assistant Chief Knopf and Lieutenant Paul Cook and the entire team. We have marshaled quite a few resources both within the police department and from the city manager's office and from the Office of Employee Relations and from the city attorney's office. In total, at this point, we have about 25 staff members, 11 full-time and 14 part-time assigned to work. And primarily this is to catch up with the backlog. I think we feel positioned very well to provide all of the general offense reports, or as some of us are calling the top reports, within the 30-day requirement. And so I believe that we will be meeting that deadline and are working very hard on the 90-day requirement to produce all the relevant and responsive records associated with those general offense reports. With regard to our ability to meet them, there's obviously a lot of work, and we're working very hard to do that. I think if we were able to narrow some of the focus on some of that work, I think we would be positioned very well to also meet the 90-day requirement. So that's my summary. Thank you.
Hi, this is Tony, City Clerk. I wanted to note that Carrasco was present for the vote. It was Esparza who was absent.
Thank you. So on to item 3.1, report of the city manager.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Appreciate the opportunity. It's been a very busy and demanding July for us all. I wanted to kind of connect on a few non-COVID things before we get into the COVID update. Wanted to reference the number of information memos that we put out in the month of July, about 20 memos that we sent out to provide information to the mayor, council, and in public. I would like just to highlight two, just to make sure they're on everyone's radar. The first is a couple of memos with regard to the status of the commercial linkage fee and the efforts there. So we have released the draft nexus study, and we have released the draft feasibility study for the commercial linkage fee council priority. Also want to reference a summary of the police reform work that we've been directed to do and have underway. It's an extensive work plan, and so want to make sure the council and the public see that summary of work, recognizing that we've got additional items to be discussed at Rules on Wednesday that will most likely add to that work plan. But we want to make sure that we're capturing everything so that we can be organized in our approach to following through with all of the important work. As the council knows, yesterday, our police chief, Eddie Garcia, announced his intent to retire at the end of the year. This is something that I've known about for quite a while, and certainly appreciate the phenomenal work that Eddie has done throughout his entire career and as police chief, and very much appreciate the advance notice so that we can begin the process of recruiting a new chief. That's a process that will be an open recruitment. I do want to loop back with the council on that process and how we engage the community and how we go about that. So that will come at a later time. But we do have the next 6 months to begin that process, and we do have Eddie for the next 6 months. And so wanted to make sure the council understood that there'll be an opportunity to kind of look at that recruitment process here in the near future. Wanted to do my normal unsung heroes, and today would like to recognize the finance, purchasing, and risk management team. They've been working diligently to ensure that all of the city's purchasing and risks needs are met during this time. COVID-19 hit during really the team's busiest time of the year, of course, and it's happened to a lot of our teams. The purchasing team had to update all their policies and procedures to help departments handle the new reality of remote working and so forth in terms of our purchasing processes. And really, the pandemic has really added quite a bit to their already normal heavy workload, especially with regards to gaining expertise in federal procurement and in contracting guidelines that to make sure that we ensure eligibility for the federal relief funds. And so I just want to really name the team members. There's Bernie Reyes, Cindy Johnson, Ria Schmidt, Emmanuel Fluker, Lisa Watt, Lee Tran, Julianne Esteban, Vicki Davis, Ryan Maher, Fletcher Barnes, VJ Uppen, David Nguyen, Garrett Dogallo, Miguel Bernal, Yen Boy, Min Kim, and Jennifer Chang. So thank you to all of you for your great work in keeping everything running during these challenging times. And so now we'll get into the COVID update. You'll be hearing from Kip, from Ray Reardon, and from Kelly Parmalee. We'll do a little bit of a recap and a little bit of a look ahead, and also talking a little bit about how we are committed to keeping our workforce safe in terms of serving our community. So Kip, I'll hand it off to you.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Good morning, Mayor and Council, members of the public. Kip Harkness, Deputy City Manager and Director of the Emergency Operations Center for the month of July. On behalf of Lee Wilcox, the incoming director, all of us in the Emergency Operations Center, and indeed all of us in the city working on essential services, I want to provide you an update on our COVID response. And we're going to take a little bit of a recap, kind of take a look back at the last 194 days since we initiated our planning work on the 24th of January, 2020. We'll be quick with it, but we will give kind of a quick look back, a quick look ahead, and then a deep dive with Kelly Parmalee into what we're calling Powered by People 2.0, which is how we are making sure that people are safe and able to do the vital work of the city. So let's see here, so just said all of that. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Ray Reardon, our Director of Emergency Management, who will give us a look back at the first 6 months.
Thank you, Kip. Appreciate the intro. Good morning to the City Council members, the City Management, and attendees at today's City Council meeting. I am Ray Reardon, the Director of the City Manager's Office of Emergency Management and the Emergency Operations Center Planning Section Coordinator when the EOC is activated. As Kip described, I'm going to present a high-level review of the city's first 6 months of response to the pandemic. Next slide. 6 days after the city had activated the pandemic management plan, we held this training for the City Council on January 30th. That really seems like a long time ago. 4 days later, we activated the Emergency Operations Center. 6 days later, the city manager declared a local emergency. 10 days later, the City Council ratified that proclamation on the 10th day of March. To remind you, the purpose of the Emergency Operations Center is to provide certain actions. It's to provide a central command and control facility responsible for carrying out the principles of emergency preparedness and emergency management, or disaster management functions at a strategic level during an emergency, and ensuring the continuity of operations of the political subdivision is carried out. The EOC is responsible for strategic direction and operational decisions, and does not normally directly control field assets, instead leaving tactical decisions to lower commands. And the common functions of the EOC are to, number one, collect and gather and analyze data, make decisions that protect life and property, maintain continuity of the organization within the scope of applicable laws, and lastly, to disseminate those decisions to all concerned agencies and individuals. Next slide. The most critical component of an emergency operations center is the individuals who staff it. Here, these are pictures of where we activated the Emergency Operations Center in the City Manager's Conference Room as we started out. The staff must be properly trained and have the proper authorities. They must be capable of being agile, pivoting, and thinking outside the box. The EOC's primary function during an emergency is to support the field. For our planning section, we spent many hours conducting on-the-job training, as 80% of those who joined the EOC had no previous training or experience. We also, collectively, had to adjust to the virtual world. Next slide. We had to make sure we had the right people serving in the right roles. And in some cases, it meant reassigning staff to work where they were not typically expected to. As disaster service workers, employees are obligated to remain at work, return to work, or be reassigned to serve where they can assist. Staff were provided personal protective equipment as needed, trained to do the work at the moment, and provided safety protocols to ensure their health. At the height, we had over 713 people assigned to the EOC or to support the services directed out of the EOC missions and objectives. Today, we have 344 continuing in the effort. Now, I do need to recognize employees were not the only ones assisting in the efforts, as many volunteers provided support, along with the National Guard and the California Conservation Corps, who also assisted. Next slide. Since March 4th, when we activated the Emergency Operations Center, we've had a long response. 22 weeks overall, or 154 days, and that's in the activation of the EOC. When you look at the planning, it's been longer, as Kip identified. 130 of those days were specifically in our stage 5 or extremely high response, shown in the red markings at the bottom. Along the bottom, you can see how we progressed through stages 1 through 5, as identified in our pandemic response plan. And the brown line in this graph represents the cumulative number of cases, and the blue lines indicate the number of daily reports provided each day on positive cases. Please note that we started our planning activity in January, long before the county started identifying the counts of cases. Our progressive plan used specific benchmarks or trigger points, and the most significant trigger was the county health order. Our plans were designed to be dynamic and adjust to what the science was telling us. As the orders changed, so did our position in response. During a major response to in the red, we began to plan for recovery, and resilience in the other stages of 6 to 10. While we moved to stage 6 into stage 7, we had to return back to stage 6 shortly after the 4th of July weekend due to the number of cases and public health order requirements. Thank you, Kip. Next slide. How did we keep ourselves organized and on track? We started, it's called the Emergency Action Plan. It kept us on track and organized. We started first with weekly reports. And what the EAP, Emergency Action Plan, is established to do is establish our rhythm, focus our operational plan for that period of time, identify staff to accomplish the work, and identify the accomplishments of each period. The most recent Emergency Action Plan is 150 pages long. Here's an example. It covers everything from tip to tail. While we did not expect to write War and Peace during these EAP documents, the intention is that we document our objectives, our accomplishments, and helps us with recovery as we continue forward. Next slide. We have followed these 3 principles since the start, and they are started on the cover of each of the emergency action plans. Compassion and action, open, candid, and direct communication, and one team. And that's what we focused on in each of the action plans. Next slide. This should probably look familiar to you as our roadmap, which detailed our direction of where we're going. I will provide a brief recap of all the tremendous efforts related to the top 3 priorities and a few of the enabling actions. For priority 4, Powered by People, you'll hear from Kelly Parmalee later. Next slide. Priority 1 has always been to support the county health order. Our liaison, public health information, and code enforcement teams have worked to educate and inform the residents and businesses on how to understand the orders as they adjusted during this time. The EOC worked tirelessly to coordinate information, actions, and services throughout with the county. The success has been shown in the food distribution and housing collaboration. Next slide. Priority 2 was to keep essential services moving. We continued to supply sewer, water, and garbage services to all 1 million San Jose residents. We sustained police and fire operations with no reduction in service. We saw no major calls for services or losses to our street lighting or other transportation systems. And we paid all 7,600 employees on time, each pay period. Next slide. Priority 3 was to support our at-risk communities and populations. A significant effort was set to address the needs to feed our at-risk communities. With the economic impacts, the food insecure population soared. On March 18th, the city accepted the challenge provided by the county to coordinate the delivery of food to our food insecure populations, not just in the city, but the county as a whole. Next slide. As a result, in collaboration with our community partners who are listed at the top right of this slide, we provided, in leadership from the Second Harvest Food Bank and many other nonprofits, we've been able to contribute, coordinate, deliver, and serve an average of 2.61 million meals per week since the beginning of April. Cumulatively, that's translated to 52.5 million meals since March. Next slide. A subset of priority 3 was to enhance our homeless support and services. Immediately, San Jose Housing Department began working with the county very closely on a collaborative effort. As a result, on temporary housing, they have fielded over 5,100 hotline calls with a volume that continues to increase. They expanded the temporary housing and shelter capacity, temporarily placing 1,185 unsheltered residents at our temporary sites such as Parkside, South Hall, Camden, and Baskin centers. Over 2 million in motel vouchers were provided to families, which equated to about 834 motel hotel rooms, and continued doing their normal work by placing permanent housing for 844. In the interim housing, this week, the Monterey Bernal site should be opening. The Rue Ferrari and Evan Lane's sites will open up by the end of August. And in the encampment support, they established hygiene stations, including portable restrooms, showers, and hand washing. And the housing solutions, it provided support in shelter hotline, the housing assessments, and housing problem solving. And in the street outreach, provided support and education, including information on social distancing, education, and availability of testing. Our next slide. One of our key enabling actions that really supported all those actions, those successes, was communicating with the public. Our public information team reached significant milestones in the social media arena and published significant reports to keep the public and employees aware of the developments within the city's response. Cannot believe 11.5 million impressions. That's a tremendous amount of work. Next slide. COVID-19 has presented the most impactful emergency that local, state, and federal and global responders have ever seen. With this unprecedented emergency, the old way of response and recovery was modified, and we initiated recovery during the emergency response. State and federal agencies offered assistance early and often in terms of the information and availability of the funding. FEMA even created an opportunity for expediting applications for funds, and there are additional packages being developed beyond the original coronavirus relief packages. The challenge has been in understanding what the different eligible sources are and what qualified activities can be, as these requirements and the definitions have changed since the delivery of the funds. Additional federal resources are expected. Next slide. In addition to the many activities noted on our roadmap, the city also took on testing support at the Verily site and creating a city focused on digital inclusion. For the Verily support, we want to point out that with an adjustment to service delivery, the total number of tests completed has come to 15,386. And for digital inclusion, yesterday's press conference described our agreement with AT&T, the 1,100 hotspots that will be deployed, including 3,000 for checkout at libraries. Also discussion included the implementation plan forthcoming. Next slide. While the COVID emergency is not over, we did initiate efforts to capture the successes, challenges, and improvements we need to make for the future response to COVID. This will help us take an objective look at what we've done thus far and be sure our path forward is focused on equity and our vulnerable populations, including those with access and functional needs. A contractor has been selected with Constant Associates, and the effort will include input from internal staff and our collaborating agencies. Next slide. Not only do we need to think about how to adjust for the continued COVID emergency, we need to be acknowledging the preparedness, planning, and training necessary to respond to the potential power shutoffs, fires, and floods in our future. My report was not comprehensive or detailed, but outlined the major initiatives the city accomplished during the 6 months of response. Season 1, as we become to call it, was an uncharted international pandemic, and response was adjusting. The cast and characters in this show have been amazing. I'm going to turn it back to Kip to take a look at season 2.
Thank you, Ray. As we look at what comes ahead, I want to take a quick recap of July and then a little bit of looking forward at what we think we might see over the next 6 months in particular. And then, as I said, we'll do a deep dive with our people. So Ray's mentioned our roadmap continues to guide us and be our North Star, pointing us to those things which are most important. During July, the nation as a whole saw a significant increase in cases and a broadening of the areas affected by the virus. Here in Santa Clara County, we also saw increases with cases, though not at the level seen in other parts of the country or California. And we now see some initial positive signs that the new numbers of cases are coming down from their July high point, though they remain higher than they have been in previous months. A new risk-based county public health order was announced on July 2nd and went into effect briefly the morning of July 13th, only to be pulled back the afternoon due to state guidance as the county was being placed on the watch list. When the county is removed from the watch list, that order will take full effect and move us along, if you will, to the next stage. During that time, we've communicated with all businesses in the city that have paid their business taxes about these changes and will continue to do so as the orders evolve, as well as general public information. We've refocused our EPIO and compliance branch efforts on the goal of safety for our community and are working on additional proactive campaigns to support compliance with public health orders, especially for our most vulnerable populations. You'll see a lot of effort around this in the coming weeks and months. We launched new weekend and evening hours at the Free Verily testing site. And as Ray mentioned, I believe the final number is actually over 16,000 tests. As of this week, the county is taking full control of the site and moving the site from the Powell Stadium to Mount Pleasant High School. The new site will initially continue to be appointment only, but with the intent, I believe, of adding no appointment walk-up capacity with language support. We continue to work with our county partners, supporting supported isolation and sheltering for individuals. Also in July, we continue to provide, of course, all essential services from fire to wastewater treatment, and have had to find new ways to provide many of these or expand them as we have been providing them. We did some additional openings in parks and signage around the amenities and how to use them safely. We continue to support development services and construction in our city. We are on track to schedule more than 90% of the inspections that were postponed due to COVID-19, and our weekly inspection rate is now consistently 90 to 90% of the amount that we were doing pre-COVID. We'll provide more information on development services at a later 3.1 in August, as well as at the Council Committee on Development Services scheduled for 27th of August. Community Engagement Branch conducted several successful pilots and trained over 77 city staff on how to ensure we can continue to hear from our community while staying safe. As an example, we believe we are the first city in California to conduct a virtual planning commission meeting. Our alfresco work continued, revising our zoning and planning codes to support outdoor alfresco dining on streets, parking areas, and parklets. The specifics will come before council in a separate item today. And in our Camp San Jose Strong, we served 874 children safely, including 522 of them who were scholarship recipients. In the area of supporting people at risk, during the month of July, we continue to support our most at-risk populations and communities. In partnership with Second Harvest and many community organizations, as was mentioned earlier, we've been serving meals, and they reached a total of about 11 million meals in the last 5 weeks. We continued construction on 3 bridge housing sites, and that will provide beds for more than 300 individuals when completed, and are working closely with hundreds more to find other shelter placements and other permanent placements as well. We launched an encampment support program, including dumpster pilots. A more in-depth briefing on that item will take place in August, again at a future 3.1 item. We also had progress with digital inclusion, as was mentioned, the 11,000 AT&T hotspots, which you've heard about. Again, more in-depth briefing on that will also take place later in August. So a quick look ahead. As we look ahead to the next 6 months, to quote Dr. Cody, we know it's only going to get harder. We now know more about the disease and know more about how to respond as a team. There are positive signs that one or more of the vaccines currently under development through the Warp Speed project will be both safe, effective, and scalable. And some of the companies producing the vaccine candidates are moving aggressively now to scale production to be ready to roll out a vaccination campaign soon after anticipated approval. But that approval is not likely until early next year at best, and is far from a certainty. And even a well-coordinated and well-funded vaccination campaign will take time to reach everyone who needs it. In the meantime, social distancing, wearing of face coverings, being outdoors rather than in when possible, avoiding gatherings, and enhanced hygiene practices must continue if we are to protect ourselves. Again, it will get harder in the next 6 months. This is because restarting city services safely is harder than closing them down. This applies equally to businesses of all sizes. All of us, including those working in the EOC, are tired, stressed, mentally fatigued. The GDP for the nation has shrunk at a rate previously unseen and unrecorded. Unemployment, only recently at historic lows, remains extremely high, and supplemental unemployment benefits of $600 a week have lapsed and may not be fully renewed. People are running out of resources and support and are at risk of falling into the margins. Eviction protections may end. This could result in a wave of evictions, and even without evictions, many people will be faced with large deferred rent payments. We're also heading into fall and winter flu season. In a normal flu season, our local hospitals are typically at about 90% of capacity without any COVID-19 cases. However, on the upside, it is possible that the interventions that we are undertaking to break the chain of transmission for COVID will also decrease the incidence of flu. In any case, the combination of flu and COVID is something to be concerned about and keep an eye on. Schools are struggling how best to reopen in-person classes and how to provide effective distance learning, leaving tens of thousands of families in uncertainty and without a safe place outside the home for their children during the day. All of that, again, means it will be a very hard 6 months. We, however, will get through this. We will get through this together. As we have since the beginning, we will use our pandemic response plan to guide our actions, rely on our partners in county and public health to keep us up to date on the best science and the best numbers, and we will make our path forward together. We are currently in stage 6 of our 10-stage plan to return to something resembling normal. As soon as the county is off the state watch list and with the new risk reduction public health orders fully into effect, we will move to stage 7 in our internal city plan. Stage 8 will occur when other uses like movies and larger gatherings are permitted. Stage 9 we've reserved for when a vaccine is approved and you begin scaling that vaccine. And then one day we will be back in stage 10 when we have achieved herd immunity as a result of mass vaccinations. Given current conditions, we will likely be in stage 7 or at best stage 8 for the next 6 months or more. Put another way, we will be in this for at least as long as we already have been. In the meantime, our work continues. This roadmap you see here is a list of 45 of the top priority projects the Emergency Operations Center is focused on implementing on a day-to-day basis. Each box that you see requires a leader, a team, funding, and often new processes and technology to support the actual implementation. All of these are on top of the day-to-day work of providing essential services that is the normal business as usual for our city. To accomplish these important goals, we have pulled a peak of 720 staff out of their normal jobs. We're now down to about 330 and put them into response work. Everything from supporting Second Harvest in preparing for food distribution to overseeing the building of bridge housing to getting hotspots into the hands of students. I feel that the EOC crew has done tremendous work over the last 6 months, and the reality is much of that work will continue without respite. This means there is no excess capacity in the EOC or indeed in the city as a whole. We need to adjust expectations of the year ahead to realize that we will be focused on response and recovery and continued provision of essential services, and will not have the luxury of completing many of the other projects and priorities that were put on our work plans before the pandemic. I think the best way to illustrate this is to take a closer look at some of the projects on this roadmap. So let's double click on some of the Powered by People initiatives that we have undertaken that support our employees in their continued work and response in essential services and in the opening up of additional services. Here to take us through the details is Kelly Parmalee, who in this capacity is the director of the Powered by People 2.0 task force in the Emergency Operations Center, and in her day job is the assistant director of HR. Kelly, turning it over to you.
Thank you, Kip. Good morning, Vice Mayor and Council members. I'm really excited to be here to share with you something that's been almost 8 weeks worth of work to focus on a strategy and a set of priorities that would support our workforce through stages 6 and beyond. And it's called Powered by People 2.0 as a way of conveying an extension of the 8th City Manager's enterprise-wide priority, and one that's a long-term commitment to our employees and supporting them. We've used this visual, and I'll speak to it for just a little bit, to begin to conceptualize mostly the complexity of our work. But there are three large buckets I'd like to say about this. And so the first one is going to be about putting safety first and having a safe workplace for our employees, wherever that may be. Second, I'm going to talk about how this is complicated. It's not as simple as one might think to reopen and maintain that commitment to that first principle. And then thirdly, I'm going to talk a little bit about uncertainty contributing to all of what makes it complex. So safety first, as we all know, it's our employees who deliver services in the community, and they're essential to anything that we do in service of the community. And so as we reopen and consider expanding services, it's their safety and the safety of the workplace in which they're in that needs to be priority number one. And while no situation is certainly free of risk, when we're talking about this particular situation, we're talking about endangering people's health and potentially putting them at risk of death. So we're taking it really seriously. So safety has to be first. That's been our guiding North Star. And then I would say, secondly, it's complicated. And as a person who was oriented to the world here at the city as assistant director of HR, I've suddenly begun to understand the complexity of the work. And so I'll say three things about the complexity. One is just the nature of our city. Secondly, our understanding is constantly shifting. And thirdly, our teams are dispersed. So in terms of our own complexity, in terms of the nature of our city, when you think about trying to put safety first, we have to think about the size of our city, both its geography as well as its size in terms of number of folks in the community and our workforce, but also the range of services. Everything from an airport to a zoo and everything in between means that there's a level of complexity that perhaps other agencies don't have. But also when you think in there, and I've had to over the last several weeks with lots of other smart people about the diversity and unique facility situations, when you think about the number of branches, the number of community centers, the number of parks, the uniqueness of each one of those. When you think about streets and sewers and the regional wastewater facility, and you think about the nature and scope of services that may or may not involve the community, all those things come to bear in terms of complicating that number one commitment to a safe workplace. And so when you think about that, there isn't a cookie cutter answer to establishing a safe workplace that involves both the behaviors of employees, supervisors and leaders, as well as the physical location that they might be in. And so thinking about the right space modifications and then not creating additional hazards for employees, thinking about the safety protocols that may actually vary down to the individual job level. And so you might start with a general code of safe practices and have to create special ones. The training that's in need to instill behaviors that often feel awkward in a workplace or out in the community when you're delivering a service, so that we get those behaviors that will minimize the amount of spread of COVID. The right equipment protection, there are some basics, but then there are some folks that have some specialized equipment needs and making sure those are available and readily available. And then a series of policies that ultimately we'll have to consider either to create or to modify. The second thing, in addition to just the nature of our large city, is that our understanding is shifting on a daily basis. And Kip has done a great job at not only sharing with you all the complexities of it, but certainly our workforce and our leaders here. As a novel virus, that's exactly what it is. It's novel, and we're learning on a daily basis. Taking and getting what we can from the county, interpreting it, and then trying to put that into place in the most effective way. Talk to many folks in the safety branch, and they'll tell you we'll start out with one understanding on one morning and then a totally different understanding at 10 o'clock at night. And so we got folks who are being vigilant about that interpretation and making sure that we can execute on things that are going to keep us safe. But with that shifting sand, it also adds to the complexity. And so the other part of the complexity that I'll mention, and I have some rough estimates, don't hold me to these in terms of precision, but we have to remember that our teams are dispersed. So we have up to about 40% of our folks working remotely. If you're talking about full-time employees, about 40% in the field. That could be a range of circumstances from parks to the regional wastewater facility to folks doing some inspections. So you can, and out there working the streets in terms of pavement, whatever it happens to be out in the community. And then about 20%, maybe a little bit less than that, who are actually in a physical workplace. So when you think about the complexity in that way, the nature of our city, our understanding is shifting and our teams are dispersed. There's a lot of things that we needed to think about and continue to evolve and have emerge as we move forward. The last thing I'll say, in addition to safety first, and it's complicated, is the uncertainty that all of us can relate to, and it's palpable for our workforce. I've been talking about, and don't get to use this term very often, so I'll use it in this public forum, but I think we all have to acknowledge that we're in a collective liminal space. that betwixt and between space where you're on a threshold and you're not where you were, but you actually are trying to figure out how to get to somewhere else. And so not being able to go back and not quite being sure of going forward is a difficult and complicated space that everybody internalizes and interprets and manages differently. And I think all of those things add to the complexity of what we're doing, but an absolute stalwart commitment to a safe workplace. And so the question was for our large team, which I'll speak to a little bit more in a second, is how do we support our employees as we move forward? And so we've created a roadmap. If you want to go to the next slide, Kip, that starts with 4 main objectives. I've talked quite a bit about a safe workplace, but just again to remind folks that facility modifications, I've learned, are actually not simple things. Some of them more straightforward, but you might get the wrong plexiglass in the first instance and have to go back and put a different plexiglass in. I've learned from our facilities folks and our safety folks, a super knowledgeable and committed group of folks are constantly looking at our protocols and making sure that we have safe protocols, and soon we're going to have an outside vendor come in and assure us and give us some affirmation that we're doing those well. But there are 3 other things that were also on that conceptual circle. And those are 3 things that we've deemed as really, really important to supporting employee safety and supporting our dispersed work teams. One, which I think everybody can relate to, is ensuring that we have a platform of tools, resources, trainings, opportunities to engage around employee health and wellness. In addition to COVID, folks are dealing with a financial crisis, and many, many, many folks in our workforce are dealing with and grappling with issues and considerations around racial equity. So how do we make sure we're focusing on that as well as safety? 2 other really important objectives for us, and one I'll say a little bit more about later, is certainly the drive to digital. We've got some great partners in IT in that sense. In a very tactical, tangible way, we've got to stop moving paper. We got to use that to support safety, but also organizational efficiency and effectiveness. And there are other ways to drive to digital, but a major business process automation project is underway. And we've been incredibly creative, as many of you have as well, around that quick move out to working remote and being able to figure out how not to use signatures, about how to totally reimagine new employee welcome and a bunch of other things that put us in a digital world and support safety, but also organizational efficiency. The last thing we can all also relate to, because we're right on that call right now, is effective virtual teams. And again, I would offer that that's not just virtual, but it focuses also in dispersed environments and challenging teams to figure out their level of engagement, not just the technical piece, but how do we engage employees, teams, leaders in an entirely different environment and provide tools, resources, training, learning and development opportunities to support our teams in whatever space that they're in. So if you go to the next slide, Kip. So what I'll say here is we've got about 16 initiatives, 16 large initiatives that are guiding us not for the next 90 days, but for the next 6 months to a year. And we're really planning out toward a year with a long-term commitment to supporting our employees as things evolve. And so you can see those 16 initiatives here. We don't need to go through them, but each team has a set of 4 that are guiding their work. And if you go to the next slide, you'll see that we have 20 key results to deliver in the first quarter. So we've got 4 teams not only working within their own swim lanes, but also across those 4 areas to ensure that we're putting the right results in place for a safe workplace, for wellness and health, for a drive to digital and effective virtual teams. And if you go to the next slide, Kip, so this gives you a sense, there's more, almost 40 people here on this governance page, 4 teams that actually don't have everybody listed here because we have groups of liaisons that we use to reach out to each of the departments in these areas. And so it's a complex, but also thoughtful and strategic approach to making sure that we can support our employees and our leaders and managers and supervisors going forward. I think what's important is we've involved our teams also with a connection to our leadership. So we have, in terms of the executive team, leadership that's comprised of both city manager's office and the EOC, knowing that we launched this out of the EOC with the long-term endeavor of it being returned to the departments who will continue to work on this going forward. So this isn't just a one and done, but one that has a thoughtful strategic approach to the future. You can go to the next slide, Kip. So I want to say in closing is a couple of things, and thanks to my friend Trevor in the CMO's communications shop to help me come up with some icons. We had a collage approach originally and envisioned, and it didn't quite work out that way. But I would say a couple of really important things in each of these and also acknowledge some folks. In the safe workplace, we have an incredible group of folks, like I mentioned, in terms of safety and facilities. So Joe Gregory, Eric Fortes, and Walter Lynn represent the safety and facilities side, with a lot of people that I can't name here who are over in the 30 plus people who are supporting safety and facilities. And it's my plea and my ask of everyone, particularly if you're in an inside workplace position, which we're actually hoping that folks will continue to remain remote and outdoors if possible, but continue to champion social distancing, continue to champion face coverings, and also ensuring that we engage in effective hygiene around hand washing. Those are three very simple but powerful things and messages that we can continue to send to our workforce and to the community in which they work with. So in the second grouping, we've identified our work in three buckets. One related to physical health and well-being, the second being emotional and mental well-being, and then financial well-being. And how do we provide tools, resources, connections, engagement opportunities in these areas? And the benefit team in HR is running this group. They have some really exciting things planned for the upcoming year, and that's led by Emily Hendon out of our benefits group. In the drive to digital, this is acknowledging we need to get out of paper. Many of you have heard about the unique opportunity to do alfresco dining and support with business process automation. And we need to bring that practice to the city and to its workforce so that we can minimize the amount of paper that we're pushing, but also engage in a bunch of other interesting projects around the drive to digital. Jerry Dreesen, the assistant CIO, is the one who's primarily leading this, but we also have in the background, certainly Rob Lloyd and the rest of the IT team that I also can't name here, or we'd be here for quite a long time. And then lastly, our effective virtual teams, one near and dear to my heart, and that we had, as part of Powered by People 1.0, initiated a learning and development group that was ready to launch a whole lot of interesting and unique learning and development opportunities as part of that effort of in the last 18 months. And so we've just pivoted this, and we're gonna turn it to the how do we support folks in these dispersed and virtual environments in terms of technology, but also how do we manage, how do we engage, how do we lead in a semi-virtual environment or a 100% virtual environment. That's led by Robert Hernandez and several other folks from across the city, as well as on the learning and development team. So those are just a highlight of a few things going on. I will say it is impressive that in terms of effective virtual teams that our EOC is entirely virtual. We've participated in many meetings and it's effective and it works. And it also is a #1 opportunity to keep us all safe. And so happy to have that EOC illustration as an effective virtual team. So that's what I have in terms of supporting a thoughtful strategy and set of priorities going forward for our workforce. Thanks, Kip.
Thank you, Kelly. As you can see, those are, again, 4 out of the 45 boxes on our kind of EOC roadmap. You can see the complexity that's required to do this work well and how much is emergent and evolving as we learn more about where we are and where we'll be. So we'll continue to keep you informed in doing these sort of deep dives in 3.1. There's a preview of updates that you'll hear later in August, not in this one. So I share this with you so we can focus today on the Powered by People and a little bit of the retrospective, and where possible, hold off on deeper conversations or engagement in these items until they come up. Of course, we'd be happy to answer any clarifying questions or any direct questions you might have about them, but want to give you a sense of what's coming up in the month of August. As important, I mentioned I'll be rotating out of the director's seat for the month of August, and Lee Wilcox will be rotating back in. So please keep any really hard questions for him at future 3.1s. So in closing, I think it's useful to go back to first principles. Ray mentioned these, and these are the principles that have guided us from day one. We seek to be compassion in action, which means we focus on the most vulnerable, our Black and Latinx community, our elders, our homeless, and try to make sure our actions meet their needs, such as feeding, housing, and beyond. We seek to be open, candid, and direct, which means facing the brutal facts, speaking directly to the issues and problems so we can learn and quickly pivot to solutions. We seek to be one team across departmental lines with our nonprofit partners from Second Harvest to Catholic Charities to Destination Home to Sacred Heart to the Opportunity Fund to the county to the Santa Clara County Office of Education and dozens of others. I wanted to close with this image. It's a block print I carved back in March in the early days of this. And for me, it represents what I'm coming to think of as our COVID year. Now, 6 months in, we are not done with this long and most difficult emergency. Far from it. The public health storm continues. The economic storm continues. The fiscal storm continues. Our most important leadership task is to support the most vulnerable in our community, to ride it out through these storms as best we can. So 6 months in, we, the crew of the Emergency Operations Center, rededicate ourselves to the hard work ahead of us with a steady hand on the tiller and a clear eye on the horizon. And we seek in all that we do to act with compassion, candor, and as a team. On behalf of all of the crew of the Emergency Operations Center, and indeed all of our city departments working hard to provide essential city services, thank you for this opportunity to serve our community. And with that appreciation, I conclude our presentation. Turn it back to the city manager.
Thank you, Kip, and thank you, Ray, and thank you, Kelly. And Mayor, we are available for questions.
All right, before we, well, first of all, I want to say thank you to Kip and all the city employees who have been working so hard and have been so diligent and so dedicated to working through this crisis. So I want to commend everybody for everything that they're doing. I want to go to public comments first, and then we'll go to my council colleagues. So I want to start with Paul. Paul Soto.
Good morning, Council. I'd like to get away from that romanticizing that Kip just gave about riding out the storm, and I mean that really bothered me because what he's doing is romanticizing the deaths of Latinos on the East Side. See, you ain't feeling it. You look pretty well fed. You don't look like you're hurting for a home. Doesn't look like you're being threatened by evictions coming up in August. So you have the opportunity to sit there and romanticize the deaths that is happening on the East Side. So what I would suggest to you is you go ahead and check your motives, check your white privilege, and leave it at the door. Because there's people that are suffering in this city, and it's because of men like you that aren't really actually looking at what the issue really actually is and just speaking directly to the issue. You want candor? You're getting it from me. Secondly, this moratorium, the moratorium has to be, okay, cool. The moratorium.
Keep going, Paul.
The moratorium has to be on the table because without that, you are going to have suffering in the city that all of these policies that you're putting in place, they're not even going to apply. So it's a waste of time. It's a complete waste of time. Unless you actually are considering everything that is going to happen with this moratorium within the context of the policies that you're pushing now. And so that's all I have to say on that particular issue. I'm going to be here all day with you. And so let's look forward to it. And, you know, we're going to get some feelings hurt, but it's all right. We'll drink some water and then move on. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Todd?
Yeah, hello. My name's Todd Williams, and I live at Third Avenue. And I was walking down the street earlier. I was going to say, "Fun! The police can kill."
All right. JT Gardner neighborhood.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Jeremy Taylor. To Kip, well, actually, a quick comment on the next chief. Deputy Chief Randolph is awesome. I don't know if she's looking for the job, but if I were king of San Jose, I would make Deputy Chief Randolph the next chief and maybe try to convince her to take the job. I really feel like she would turn the department around. And to Kip, I heard you say that you'd like to prioritize Latinx San Joseans. Well, you got your chance. Gardner neighborhood is a red line neighborhood. We're an orphan neighborhood. We're almost at the point of representation, taxation without representation. And if you want to help actually increase the voice of a 78% Latino neighborhood, make Gardner neighborhood D6. It's the most blatant redlining I've ever seen. And it's the only neighborhood in all of San Jose where if I go a block north, I don't hit D3. If I go a block east, I don't hit D3. If I go 50 feet south, I hit D6. If I go one block to the west, I hit D6. This needs to change. Please stop redlining Gardner. Thank you.
Thank you, Blair.
Hi, thank you for the meeting today. To comment on Kip's words, his final words, I'm real hopeful that, you know, I've heard a lot of talk about what's going to be happening in the next few years, and it's really dire. So those words will be really, really needed in the next few years. And so good luck in our efforts. I hope things can be calm in the next few years, and we can maintain and be above, our heads can be above the situation, because it sounds pretty grim. So good luck to ourselves, and to be open with each other during that time. I wanted to really thank Ash Kalra and a bunch of other people from the Assembly who are working on a Bill 1436. And it doesn't have eviction moratorium things, but it has a way of rent forgiveness for tenants. And it makes sure that owners cannot sue tenants for if they're late with their payments, and gives us a forgiveness period a year past April 2021. So like I've been saying all these months, there's really good plans that are trying to develop that are possible. And on the other side of it, to help owners with their mortgage situations, with their own payment issues, so they don't have to be harassing tenants. So I really hope, as Paul Soto has tried to say, you know, he doesn't want people being fried in the next few months, you know, owners frying tenants basically. So, you know, I hope owners really study these practices and what's really possible at this time, and how hard everyone is working for good practices. And, you know, we can make things work. I'm really upset with 10 seconds left about the translation process still. On the Zoom site, it says German where it should say Vietnamese, and that's not right. Let's work on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Blair. Veronica?
Oh, good morning, Council, and thank you again for having us here. I do want to thank all of the city employees for all of your work that you've been doing. You know, and I know the countless nights that y'all been up. So thank you so much for all that you've been doing. I do want to highlight though, Kip, I know you decided to use your artwork at the end. That was very egocentric. Next time, maybe you should use a photo of your employees as a thanking them. It was just kind of disturbing. And again, just going with Paul, romanticizing something where my people are dying, right? Where my people don't have what to eat, where my people do not know how they're going to pay, do not know if tomorrow it's going to be their last day living under a roof. I also do want to highlight that there wasn't anything towards disabilities and people with disabilities. How are we addressing those disparities? Because they also count, and most of the time we forget about them, and their disabilities do not just end or or just leave. They're still there. And how are we addressing that? And especially with children. How many children with disabilities have you admitted into your camps? How many children with disabilities are receiving the resources? Because let me tell you, not many, as well as are undocumented. How many of those are undocumented? How we sending out the information? Is it only online? Is it through the radio? Like, what are our other areas that we can send it out as well? Like, really asking those critical questions. Again, on the forgiveness on rent and rent freeze, we need to make sure that we prioritize that now, as it is coming to an end, and people do not have those $600 extra in their paychecks, and not in their paychecks, but in their unemployment. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. Molly?
Hello, my name is Molly McLeod. I am a retiree from the city of San Jose who had the privilege of working in the Emergency Operations Center on the PG&E shutoff. I want to echo the concerns for people with disabilities, and all those with access and functional needs, which actually includes transportation, elders, translation. I'd also note that the difference between this opportunity to comment and the YouTube channel, which is where captioning, not CART, but captioning is available, and Vietnamese and Spanish, there's a gap of several minutes. You don't have this synchronized. And so I had to move from CART, which I found, and captioning, which is not as good as CART, but to come over here so that I could make sure I get my chance to speak. The work on racial equity is really beginning. The work on ableism is so far behind, from the reliance on PowerPoints and say, see what it says here. Where is that information accessible to somebody who is blind or has low vision? Where is the length of, who's coming up in the queue? And I say this as somebody who's been invited to participate in the annex on PG&E coming up with the Emergency Operations Center. But I was concerned to find out I got there and invite, why isn't the community engagement more broadly to stakeholders, and not just service providers, but people with real lived experience of all kinds? The folks who have been calling for access all this time have a lot of expertise, and you're underutilizing it. Longmore Institute is one example. We got to do better, folks.
Thank you, Molly. David?
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, fuck niggers.
Okay. Ashley?
Fuck all niggas, kill the Jews, the faggots, and the niggas, and
All right. Jonathan?
Hello?
Yes.
Fuck niggers and
All right. Jeremy?
Hello, can you guys hear?
Yes, Jeremy, go ahead. Oh, we lost Jeremy. Mike? Looks like we lost Mike Encino. Encino?
Okay, so Encino is unable to talk because he has an older version of Zoom.
Okay. We can come back to him. Brenda?
Good morning, council members. Today, I just wanted to echo on a lot of the concerns of our constituent people that have been calling, and all your voters. We need to focus on a lot of the children in all your districts that are either not getting food from schools or pantries because their parents don't drive. That is a big concern of mine because I have heard of so many families just because of transportation, they have not been able to pick up school lunches. Also, our seniors. We have seniors that have not been called or checked on, that have had 2 to 1 month of no food or nutrition that I've reached out to. And also, we have to remember that a lot of them have pets, that they can't walk, especially if they got COVID-19. So we need to do something about people with pets and how can we better help and support them as well. There's been a lot of people with COVID-19 who have had no support, and they've been sent home with no services and no support. And these people have been starving or have had nothing given to them. And I know this because I'm in the grounds and I've had to help a lot of these families. And it's not okay that we are not doing anything. If we know that a person is with COVID-19, hospitals and cities need to do something to support and have a system to support them. The bathrooms are not clean for the homeless. They're disgusting. They're dirty. I've walked around and I've seen them, and we need to do something about having someone either changing those porta potties or cleaning them, because they're just people like us. I also wanted to talk about the rent. We need to do something because rent fees will not help. We need either a rent forgiveness, or we need to do something to make sure that our undocumented families especially have something that they can feel less of a weight, because a lot of them right now can't afford rent and they don't have anywhere else to go. Sacred Heart has a long list, and a lot of these families haven't received anything. So we need to think about that as well. A lot of you council members have Dev Davis, a lot of your families there, the undocumented side, they're getting no services. So if you can please focus on that side.
Thank you, Brenda. Thank you. We're getting close to the time when we need to take a lunch break. So I'm going to take a break now and reconvene at 1:30, and we can continue this this particular item. So we will reconvene at 1:30. Thank you.